So last time we caught up, it was in my office at the Central Coast, and you walked in.
Yeah.
Today, I'm here at Putney at Royal Rehab, and you're in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
So explain to me what happened from the last time we caught up.
Yeah, you might have noticed that when I did walk in, I had a bit of a limp. So I had a T6 disc that had shifted at some point in my life, and it was compressing about 90% of my spinal cord. So it was taking the use of my legs away. I went and had the surgery done to fuse my T5 to T9, and then they were going to remove the piece out. But somewhere in the 3-hour operation, it turned into 10. I lost a phenomenal amount of blood. I ended up with catastrophic event right the way through. I think I died there somewhere in the middle of it all. They put me all back together, and here I am in a wheelchair.
Crazy. So when did you have the operation?
That was back on the 31st of March 2025.
Oh, so it was this year?
It was this year, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I've been here now. I'm in my 5th month, I think now. Yeah, 5th month for 2 months over there, and now third month here at the Royal Rehab.
Yeah, right. And so rehabbing, like this rehab experience, is this to get you accustomed to life in the chair? Is that what it's set up for?
Yeah, absolutely. So the idea of the operation was to actually, for me, just to walk out and get back on with a version of my life, and because it didn't go my way on the day, I suppose. So what they do is they actually put you back together over there. At the North Shore Hospital, they start some sort of version of rehabilitation workout where you're good and where you're not. Then they bring you over here, and then you hone all your skills to make you as independent as you can when they get you back out there into the community is really where it is.
So how long's that process? Like how long before you get home?
4 months. It'll be a 4-month process by the time I get home. 6 months in total.
Right.
Yeah, 6 months in total. So it's all about anything from getting out of bed, bathroom, cooking, getting yourself back to bed, working day to day, making sure everything that you can do as a normal person, I can pretty much do.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're home relatively soon?
Yeah, 6 weeks.
And so what does home look like? Like, is that new accommodation? Is that...
Yeah, I'm gunning for STA, so that comes under the NDIS. So they're actually purpose-built apartments for people with disability and wheelchairs.
And have they got them on the coast?
Yeah, they got them on the coast. They put them in at Gosford. They're in all those new towers that are going up at Gosford.
Oh, right.
It's pretty cool. They'll get 11 apartments in an apartment block. One goes to like a share support service, and then like concierge, I suppose, more so. And then the 10 of you share that and live in the apartment. So I'm gunning for a 2-bedroom so I can work from home, close the door. If I have any guests come, they can come and stay there, and I just live my life in. If I need to go to the office, I'm going to be able to drive again. I'm going to be able to do whatever I need to do. Just takes a little bit more time, that's all, to get to the destination.
And touching on work, you've decided that you're going to continue doing real estate?
Yeah. I called an auction the day after the operation, called 2 auctions actually, day after the operation in the ICU unit. So life goes on, man, just straight on.
So from what I could find or couldn't find, it looks like you're going to be the only real estate agent in Australia.
It looks like
in
it.
a chair.
Yeah, we're going to roll that one out, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so I guess give us a snapshot leading into because you weren't expecting that you were going to end up in a chair.
No, it does.
No. And if you didn't get the operation, would have that been your fate anyway?
It was heading towards that. It was heading towards that, yeah. If you said to me at that time, Craig, come on, because you know how we went on a couple of walks, and then you said to me, let's go on another, I wouldn't be able to do that walk with you.
Yeah, right.
I'd probably be with a support of a stick potentially, and if it was something longer, I'd probably have a chair anyway.
Yeah.
So it was really put in place to stop any further damage. Because when you see the image of which I've shown you, like it's pretty brutal, like the way that how compressed that spinal cord was from the bulging disc, which had actually calcified. So unfortunately, it's just this is part of my journey now. This is where I'm at. So,
and it was a fairly high risk procedure.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. See, especially in the T6, because it's right where your lungs and your heart and everything else is. The neck ones and your lower back ones. They're still a high risk operation, but I mean, it all is when it comes to your spine, so you can't discount any of it really, because it can go any way on either of them. Because you've had a bit of neck surgery yourself, haven't you?
I've had a disc replaced, but there was never the talk of potentially ending up in a chair.
Yeah. Well, it was the potential of that for me because of how far gone it was.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, I guess before we talk about what real estate could potentially look like in a chair, how was it looking prior to the operation? Like, where were you kind of sitting professionally and personally? And
no, everything was going okay. Like life was going on. It was I was already coming into pivoting anyway. That's why I'd rolled myself into, or actually walked myself into we hadn't started rolling yet, into the brand shape office, just to rebrand, repurpose. The rest of the marketplace caught up, and you know me, I've always liked to, stay in my own lane, but always if someone's zigging, I want to zag. So I was talking to you about whichever the zig, the zag was, whichever the marketplace was doing, and this happened to happen in between. So we've now got a new direction we're going to zig to.
Yeah. And so obviously you and I catch up on strategy when you need it. The strategy now is very, very different.
It certainly
compared
is.
to what we were talking about. I think it was just before Christmas last year.
It was, yeah.
So, given that you're, as far as we know, is the only Aussie real estate agent in a chair.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's it. Just excuse me a second. Say hello. Hello, mate. Glenn, Chase, how are you?
Hey, mate.
It's good? Yeah, so I going for a push.
Yep.
Nice. Get into him. Work him, Trace. Work him.
So the strategy now for Craig Fisher when it comes to real estate.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't know what to expect when you called me up and you let me know what was going on. I was, I guess, logistically looking at things going, well, how do we do open homes? Could he become a specialist in accessible property, but knowing that doesn't exist very much in the marketplace? It's going to be slim pickings as to how many listings you could get. And then, and this was before we caught up, not knowing what your mindset or how you were going to frame the situation. And obviously it seems like it's a fairly tragic event, but the one thing that surprised me massively was just your mindset around everything. And how it's almost like you're relishing this opportunity versus dwelling on it.
Yeah.
So can you chat a little bit about the mindset and obviously every time we talk, you seem super upbeat and you're looking forward to being having a unique selling proposition.
Yeah.
But how do you maintain that good vibe and that positive mindset when, you're not walking anymore?
Yeah, great question. I've had a couple of dark days, which is to be expected. To keep the dark cloud off, I've always found that if you keep a good, clean diet, keep the alcohol to a minimum, make sure that you get up and you do your exercise, because exercise is quite important, but have purpose, like have something to work towards, and that helps keeps me driven. I found in life if you don't have that, the darkness can come in on you. And I have found it actually takes more energy to sit in the darkness than it does to stay positive and be energetic.
Right.
So everything for me is, in any adversity, there's always an opportunity. And so the adversity in this, for me, there's a great opportunity. And I'm lucky that in real estate, I can actually continue to be this and keep moving on. Just like there'd be plenty of other people out there. I've seen chiropractors that are doing chiropractics out of wheelchairs, mate. There's so many people, solicitors, lawyers, they're probably doctors, so everyone's in it. So it's just about, I guess, having something to work towards rather than just sitting in your own head and letting the dark clouds come in.
Right. So is that something that rehab teaches you as well? Is there a lot of mindset?
No.
No?
No. That's something I've taught myself over the years.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And probably never had to use it as like you do now.
No, that's right. Yeah. Well, being here is like reminds me of being at boarding school. Like it was very much, you spend a lot of time on your own, so you get to learn to enjoy your own company, but you still got to make sure you got things to, like the food there is important, sports there are important, keep you driven. You've got your goals you got to work towards, keep your grades up. So it's all just a bit of the same but different.
Right.
Really. And you get to go out on a Sunday.
Nice.
Yeah.
And there's so in regards to work, has that been same but different? Like you obviously kept doing real estate throughout the whole process of the rehab, and if you were calling auctions the day after your like, so how have you noticed anything change in regards to?
Well, it's like anything. Like even when I was an able-bodied, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. So being in a wheelchair, I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea. It's kind of the same thing but different again, right? So I really, like if you come into my room now, like I've got the desk set up, I've got my laptop, I got my grateful jar here, I got my coffee machine here, I got my work pad here, and I just get on the phones and I just talk. So I can do that from here, I can do that from the car, I can do that from your place, I can do that from Bali. So what it's actually allowed me to do, because real estate, as you know, can be quite location bound. But what I've done is firstly, I've redesigned my life around this. And then what I've done, I've redesigned a team around me to be able to continue in the space. Is it for everybody? No, like I said, am I for everybody? But I've never been for everybody anyway. Can I get the job done for you? Pretty much everyone said, as long as I'm at the pointy end taking the money, well then that's where we want you to be. Yeah, so it's all good. Life's going to go on. So
let's talk about how you're going to be set up as Craig Fisher Real Estate now. Obviously, in-person walkthroughs of properties are going to be dependent on whether they're accessible or not.
Yeah, well, that'll be like when we go back to the COVID days. Up on the phone, I'll have Tim, who works with us in the team. He'll come and do the tour, have me on the video. We'll go through the property on the phone. Sit me up at the end of the table like that, put a glass of water in front of me if you want, and we can have a conversation with me digitally on the phone.
Yeah, right. So you'll be relying on your team to be the eyeballs and the walkthroughs.
Yeah, and open homes, it's like we do now anyway. So what am I carrying now? About 12 listings at the moment, and open homes, I can't do all 12. So technically, Tim, and we bring in a casual from time to time, they help with the open homes anyway, where I can't be. But as long as I'm there on the Monday doing the buyer follow-up calls, making sure I'm communicating, like it works.
Yeah, right. And do you think your business is going to be better for that? Because it's almost like you're forced to spend more time on the business than in the business.
Yeah, more than likely.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it really is, yeah. Yeah, because the one thing I'm good at sitting on the phones. Like I actually don't mind, like you, I don't mind a chat. Yeah, so that won't change. Again, like, will it be for everybody that I can't physically go and see your house? Probably not. But is that what it's necessarily about, or is it about the skills that I've got in my bag to be able to communicate and negotiate to get you to where you want to be in real estate?
Yeah,
because that's where most of it is. Anyone can go and open a door, but not everybody can do the part of the communication and negotiation.
Yeah,
It'll
be interesting to see how it plays out.
Well, look, so what have we listed? 40, 41, so 41 townhouses. Another 2 or 3 are going to come off the back. 2 beachfronts have just been listed. So I'm on a roll, mate. Like
figuratively
and literally, I'm on a roll, and it's even to the tune of where I've got my my learned colleagues out there in the marketplace. And if you're watching this, you know who you are, saying that, Craig Fisher, he's a paraplegic now, he's in a wheelchair, he's left real estate.
Yeah, right.
So that's not the case.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah, and have you sold a property in the chair yet?
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. So life goes on, mate.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, life goes on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so outside of real estate, any other, opportunities that you can see have presented yourself? Hey, buddy.
Yeah. Bird watching.
Yeah, so outside of real estate and adapting to that, is there anything else that's kind of your experience with accessibility in real estate particularly, like that you're going to have a crack at?
Yeah, well, look, there's look, I've always been in a mentor role behind the scenes, training up cadets and young associates and the like. Development, that's going to start. That was something that I planned before this happened. So it's something that I'm going to continue to roll into after this. I've said that word again. There it is again. Roll, but we might as well roll. It is the roll into that, and we'll just see how much energy I got and how much I want to put in there towards mentorship. That's all, because this is a space I've found where people can lose their confidence quite a bit.
Right, so you're talking about mentorship not in real estate agent terms, but in wheelchair terms, accessibility terms.
Yeah, accessibility terms, yeah. Be more, because I've been very blessed to have come through the journey that I've come from here. I know my circumstance ending up in a wheelchair is not necessarily the outcome that I wanted, but it's actually fallen in my lap that now there's more to give out there in the marketplace, for people. Because I've met some really cool people and some really great people, but their confidence has just been knocked right out of them,
Yeah, which you would expect.
Yeah, which you would expect. And some of them I can see aren't necessarily, either they're going to find it hard to come back from, or they're not going to know how to come back from. Because one of the things that I found being here, and I've heard this twice now, there's a surprise that I'm actually, I'm as positive as I am. That seems to be the number one. But I might not be disabled enough to qualify for some of the disability stuff, even though I'm a paraplegic in the chair, but because of how positive I am.
Right. And you are pretty positive. Like one thing...
It's nuts, isn't it?
Yeah. And one thing I noticed, we even had to pause this because you're cheering on a dude that's out getting some exercise, and you seem to be a very upbeat, positive influence for whether it's someone getting in the elevator, and you explained to me that young kid's real tragic story. But I think you've almost are the perfect person to be the cheerleader for the people that are probably feeling a little bit shit. You're on the sidelines going, yo,
that's it,
go and get it.
Yeah.
So that's that'll be interesting to watch that space too. And circling back to developments, because that was one thing we had a strategy session on towards the end of last year, was you sort of diversifying into getting into development as well. Is that something now that you're looking at different from an accessibility standpoint?
Yeah,
so
I'd say so.
Yeah, so you could focus on accessible developments, which I would imagine, and I haven't done any research to say yes or no on, but I would imagine that the amount of accessible accommodation, even when you look at, if you want to go on a holiday, like Airbnbs and stays and does that exist? Is it?
There's not much.
No.
You think there'd be more, but there's not that much.
Yeah, right.
No. There's a place that I've already been to stay at down in Collaroy called Sargood. And it's literally like a 5-star hotel, but it's for people with spinal injuries.
Yep.
And Collaroy itself, they've actually geared the town up to be wheelchair friendly. Like the whole town's kind of been geared that way as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, but that's the only one in the world of its kind.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, are you sure? Like you would have thought
something we could do to revitalise the entrance.
I don't know. Like you would. Yeah.
We've been talking about that forever.
I know, right? Yeah, how are you?
So there we go.
Yeah. Well, it is something that can be done, because that facility, when I asked how old it is, it's only 7 years old, right? Because it's a beautiful looking joint. And I was like, so what do you mean you're the first in the world? I thought first in Australia. Surely America or the Swedish or something. But they're all coming to look at this facility to take it back to their countries.
Yeah, right.
To roll that out.
Yeah.
So it's a really... I would have thought, given the amount of money that's thrown at this, that they would have actually, and the amount of money that people get from payouts, that there'd be more available, and it's just not.
So you could work with, I guess, developers of the low-hanging fruit, because if there is a market there and you can show the market case, and I couldn't imagine, making a doorway a little wider, or strategically placing bathrooms in ground floor, blah, 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 or lifts. And I think I can't imagine that the cost is going to be hugely.
It's not.
Like, it can't be too much more as a percentage
There's not
of the
shower
total
screens.
project.
There's the whole. But anything that seems to get attached to disability, it's marked up 10 times because of that's how it's done.
Yeah, but there's a market there for it, right?
Yeah,
Like,
there is. A lot of it's put into high-rise, the new high-rise buildings that you see around, but it all seems to be all out to the west. None of it seems to come close to the coast, and I'd say that's because of cost of land.
Yeah.
Things starts escalating as soon as you get close to the beach.
Yeah.
But it's not to say that there wouldn't be a market for it. It's whether or not it'd be a limited market, yet to be determined.
So it may not be that it's purely accessible development, as in the total development is accessible. Maybe it's working with developers where a percentage of the whole total development is accessible.
That's what they're doing now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And is that a council regulation, or is that something that developers are just?
It's part of a DA. You put in a DA so you get some concessions and get some extra uplift.
Yeah. Well, at least they're talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, nice. So we've said the word rolling about 10,000 times.
Yeah, it seems to get in there. It's like ding.
Yeah. I noticed you've got your new branding organised that Tucker did for you.
Yes, I did.
So you've got a new CF logo.
Yes, I have.
Craig Fisher.
I have.
Explain to me a little bit about the logo.
So the logo was put together by Luke at the Brand Shape, and mate, he does a terrific job. He does. So I got a shout out to Luke for putting the Brand Shape. Anyone thinking about redoing their brand, like, these are the guys. There's no doubt about that. But if we talk about the logo itself, so it's the C and the F there for Craig Fisher. But what's most important here, the meaning behind it. So we've got because I'm a very coastal driven guy. So we've got the waves of the sea, but we've also got this that lends itself into the wheelchair as well. So we've got the Craig Fisher, and it's leaning towards in that space, and then that leads on to the keep rolling. So that'll be our tagline, so that anything that we'll do is, of course, it sort of pulls us back to the wheelchair itself, but it's also the metaphor for that we got to keep moving forward, and we've got to keep moving forward and going after what we want on our purpose.
Yeah, cool. And keep rolling, that is a good name for this potty, I'm guessing.
Mate, that's it right there, and that shirt there is for you, my man.
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no worries. So I guess to wrap, what's, like, with the podcast in particular, what are you looking to, like you mentioned before about there's doctors and there's physios and there's, is that, like, what sort of guests and what do you want to be talking about with the potty?
Yeah, well, you've just nailed it right there. It'll be, so anyone, if we're talking about in the wheelchair, we're talking about, I guess, rebuilding people who have actually come into my circumstance, rebuilding their confidence and getting themselves back into the workplace. And regardless of whether they're a real estate agent, whether they're a lawyer, they're a doctor, they're a chiropractor, that'll be the audience that I want to talk to, and how they got themselves back into their space, because this is my journey, but I'm sure that everyone's got their own. Yeah,
and I guess the good thing is that it's, obviously it'll be inspirational for people in wheelchairs to boost their confidence, but like, realistically, even me as an able-bodied person, listening to your story and feeling the buzz you have, particularly around this place, like, it's also inspirational for anybody. Yeah, like, I think it's a good story. So I'll be listening.
Yeah, tough.
All right, mate.
Thanks again. Good to see you. Thanks, mate. Thanks for coming on.